What is up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. That Geeky guy is here. So today I will be talking about a deck profile for Mr. Viserai here, or Dr. Doom as I like to call it. So we're gonna go through the deck profile. Now the objective of this deck profile is to contain cards that are lower in rarity. So basically below Majestic there is no super rare. The max rarity for of the cards in the deck is only rare. So let's just go through this. As you guys notice, there is 3 piles here. So this is supposed to be all the normal action, means non-attack action. These are the defense reaction pile, and then we have the normal attack action. So those that you see here is going to be the weapons and the equipments, which I'm going to talk last. So let's just go through the attack action cards here. So I have here the Meet and Greet. So it's supposed to be 3 red variant and 1 yellow, but since I can't seem to find another red variant, I do have them, but I can't seem to find it. Anyways, so it's supposed to be 3 red variants and 1 yellow. So what this does is basically create a rune chant if it hits. So 4 damage is, I would say, is on the low end, but we have some ways to buff this up. And also the value here is 1, so that's useful. So it's kind of low in the pitch value, and so this is a useful card because once it's hit, we get to create a rune chant token. So this basically any cards that creates rune chant token is gonna be useful. The rarity is common over here, and if we deal any arcane damage, it goes again. So it's kind of important to get this to hit, so we get to go again, and we also get to create a rune chant token. So it's gonna be 3 red and 1 yellow. So the yellow is here is just to have a 2. It's gonna create 2 resource for us just in case we need it. Then the next one would be Amplify the Arc Knight. So basically this card over here, let me just, so there is a playset of the red variant and also a playset of the blue variant. So the reason for this is of the cost. So of course it costs less for each rune chant you control, but there would be situation where we don't have enough rune chants, and this would become in handy. So we can also use this as resource in case we need it. So as you can see here, without, if let's say this is the first card that we play, which is not ideal of course, and we have to pay 3 resource, which is not great. So it is kind of essential that we have some rune chant in control before playing this guy. So in case we are stuck in that situation, we still have the blue variant to go with. Anyway, so it does 6 damage, and we can defend it with 3 of its values. So 6 is pretty high, but so is the cost. So that's something to put in mind. So the next one would be Drawn to the Dark Dimension. So once again, Drawn to the Dark Dimension, once again it utilizes the number of rune chant we have. So we have 2 here. Let's say we have control 2 rune chant. This basically becomes a free card, and also we get to draw a card. So the damage is not that impressive, but the important part here is we get to draw a card. So that's the thing. And when we get to attack, we also get to trigger the rune chant token. So basically any attack action card, or when we attack with a weapon, we get to destroy the rune chant, we get to deal 1 arcane damage. So regardless of this card hitting or not, we still get to trigger the rune chant token. So as well as, you know, the previous card. So let's move on. Just to reiterate, we have a playset of the red variant here. So if you guys notice, there is also a yellow and also a blue variant, which is I'm not a fan of because of the lower damage. And also we have Rune Flash over here. Once again, it costs less for each rune chant we control, and also we get to go again. Once again, the cost is 3. Now if I just fan out all the rune flash that we have here. Also, we have 3 red variants here, and with the cost of 3, we get to go again, and the damage of 4. So it's not that impressive, but we do have the chance to go again, which refreshes our action point, and it also costs less for each of the rune chant that we control. So there's that, the red variant, and also the blue and the yellow variant in this situation that, you know, we kind of want to pay the cost and just go from there. So once here we have the Spellblade Assault. So this is a quite a good card here. It's a rare, of course, but it does 4 damage, so it's fine. 4 damage is fine, and then it costs 2. So I have 2 cards of the red variant here. It deals 4 damage, and we get to create a 2 rune chant token. So that's pretty good. So far, all the cards that we see, actually, most of the cards actually. So the only one that creates rune chant token and attack action card that recreates rune chant token is the MidGrid. And other basically utilizes the number of rune chant that we have. So this is another action attack besides MidGrid that actually creates rune chant token. So regardless it hits or misses, you know, if the enemy blocks it, it's okay. We still get to create 2 rune chant token once again. We have the yellow and also the blue variant just for, you know, kind of have some variety in there. We can use this card to pitch some resources. So the damage here is fine. 4 is fine actually, but the important part is to create 2 rune chant tokens over there. So next we have the Spellblade Strike. So we get to once again create a rune chant token regardless it hits or not, and then it only costs 1, so that's great. So we have the red variant here, 3, and then we have 2 yellow variant and also 2 blue ones. So since it's low in cost, so I decided to put in 3 reds and then 2 yellow just in case we need some resources to pitch. Next, we have our Consuming Volition. 3 red variants here. So basically, anytime that we have dealt or we are dealing the arcane damage, we get to discard the enemy card. So that's pretty nice. Although it does say that you need to hit the hero in order for this effect to trigger. So that's something to keep in mind. And the cost is only 1, so that's great. But the damage is 4. So we have to find a way in order to buff this up so we get to actually hit the hero. And we're going to go to the next pile over here, which are the non-attack actions. So we're going to see how we're going to create all those rune chant tokens and actually trigger them. Not really trigger them, the attack action is going to trigger them, but creating the actual rune chant token. So we have Blood Spill Invocation. This is an aura card. So it has a casting cost of 1 and we get to go again. So any attack action card that we actually hit, we get to destroy this, and then we get to create 3 rune chant tokens, which is pretty good, and we get to go again. So we have 2 here. And then next we have the Mavrian Skies. Sorry about the pronunciation. And then what this does is basically buff up our Runeblade attack action. So for example, let's say we have the Consuming Volition here, and then let's say we buff this up, and then this card gains go again, and then when it hits, we also get to create 3 rune chant tokens. So the nice thing about this, it costs 0 resource points in order to, you know, trigger it. So we have 3 over here. Okay, one of the way we're going to create a rune chant token is the research notes by Sutcliffe's or Sutcliffe's research notes. So it's going to be cost 1 in order to trigger this, and we have to reveal the top 3 cards, and we create a rune chant token for each Runeblade attack action reveal, and we get to go again. So I'm going to be talking about another card later that we'll be using to create rune chant tokens. So this is one of the way that we can create more rune chant tokens, but it does rely on revealing top 3 cards of the deck. So we're going to talk about how we're going to do in order to aid that. So we have, it's supposed to be 3 reds. Ignore the blue variant here. Once again, I can't seem to find the red variant. I do have it somewhere, but you know, I'm gonna find it later. So it's gonna be 3 red variants, and we get to reveal 3 cards. So the blue one is not being used here because we only get to reveal the top card. So that's kind of useless. So we want to be able to reveal as much as possible. So we have a foresight card here. So basically I have 3 red variants. So what it does is basically buff up our attack action card plus 3, and then if it's played from the arsenal, we get to look at the top 2 cards. So the way you would, one of the way to play this is basically to launch this from the arsenal. We get to buff up our attack action card. So let's say we have consuming volition, or we have meet and greet. We get 4 plus 3, and we I wouldn't say guarantee a hit, but you know, the opposing hero would have harder time in order to block or defend the attack. Anyways, so we get to buff up by 3, and then if it's played from arsenal, we get to up 2. So basically get to look at the top 2 cards of the deck, and then we can put it on the top or bottom in any order. So let's say you want to play this, and then you look at the top 2 cards, and then you find the attack action card, and then you use the research node, since this does have the go again. So trigger this, look for 2 attack action cards, create 2 rune chant tokens, and then, you know, so on and so forth. So that's one of the way that you can play this. So there's the foresight. Of course, we have one of the most important cards here, read the runes. We have 3 red variants here. We get to create 3 rune chant tokens, pretty basic, and then it costs 0 to cast this. However, there is one weakness to this card. We do not have go again, and so the next card we're gonna talk about is gonna try to aid that. So we also have a yellow variant here to create 2 rune chant tokens, just in case, you know, an extra card never hurts, even though it only creates 2. So we have a red variant of lead the charge here. So the next action card that we play with cost 0, we get 1 action point. So what it basically does is basically gives us another action point. So we get to play the read the runes, and then it kind of gets a go again since we have gained another action point here. So basically lead the charge, read the runes, create 3 rune chant tokens, and then so on and so forth. So 3 lead the charge here. And then we have Oath of the Arc-Knight. So once again, it's an attack buff. So we have 1 red variant here. So I would say we should play more copies of this. Basically more copies of the red variant, but that would require some modification, which I have not figured out yet. So we get to buff it, although you should be wary of the cost. So that's the reason I've included more yellow variant and also blue variant in order to help the overall deck in terms of the resources and so on. So my kind of rule of thought that I have is basically if the card itself has a high resource requirement, it should include a blue variant or some way in order to pay for itself. That's the way that I think. Of course, it's not a requirement that you must use this card in order to pay the same type for itself, but it's just the way I kind of figure things out. I'll see how it goes with some playtests and so on. So we have a Runeblade attack. So basically we get to buff up once again. We get to buff, let's say, Consuming Volition. We want it to hit, get it to reach 7, and we get to create a rune chant token, which is great, and we get to go again. So that's that. Now let's take a look at some of the defense reactions. So we have reduce to rune chant. I would recommend adding more of this card, basically the red variant if possible. 3 red variants, or you can put in maybe 3 red variants and 2 yellow variants here. And since I ran out of this card, I basically replaced with Fed for Scene, which is kind of because it doesn't create any rune chant token, but it does cost 0 and it is a defense reaction of 4, which is, you know, pretty good. So there's 2 reduced to rune chant, 1 red, 1 yellow, and then we have 3 reds for Fate for Sin, and we also get to opt 1 just in case you want to go to that route and then, you know, trigger the research node from there. So that's it for the attack action, and then we have the action cards and then the defense reaction. Now let's take a look at our possible equipment. So we have Viserai here, so we can use if you're against wizard and stuff, you know, the hood. So we have talisman lens, we can destroy this and we get to opt 2. So we can use this in order to, you know, get better use of our research nodes. So that's one way. And then we have Mage Master Boots. I was going to say moots. The heck is a moots? Anyway, Mage Master Boots. We can destroy this. We get to go again. We can use the, you know, the read the runes, and then we get to go again. So that's one way. So there's another boot here. So we get to trigger the, let's say, meet and greet. We get go again from meet and greet. So that's one way. So it's an option. It's optional, guys. You want to more runes or you want to hit more. And then we have Nebula Blade, you know, the basic stuff. And then we have Goliath Gauntless as one of the options. And the next attack action card will cost 2 or greater. Maybe attacks such as Spellblade Strike, or I think, or Amplify the Arc Knight, which does cost 2 if we don't have enough rune chant, and then we get +2 from there. So that's one way to turn our disadvantage around. So we have the Null Rune Robe if you're against Wizard or of the opposing Runeblade hero. And then we have Crown of Dichotomy. We get to destroy this card, and then, you know, we get to recycle some of the attack action and then non-action cards. So guys, there's another card I would like to talk about, which is this one, Rifting. So Rifting is one of the way you may play read the runes without having enough action point, or we can use it as an instant. So if, let's say, this card hits, we get to play read the runes as if it's an instant, so you don't have to worry about action point in that case. But I did not include this because it does not in any way by itself creates a rune chant token, and also it costs 2, even though the attack is, I think, 6 is pretty okay. So guys, that's one of the options you can look at, and it's also a common card, so it's pretty easy to get. So guys, that's it for the deck profile. You have any suggestion, please let me know. You know, I myself is quite new at this game and I'm still learning. Runeblade is the first deck I try to create, and I try to go to the more budget route, you know, things like that. So guys, like, subscribe, you know, that helps out a lot. Comment, suggestion and things like that. Hope to see you guys again. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Take care.